Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for refusing to put my boyfriend on the title of my house, or make him a beneficiary? Background: my boyfriend of over 3 years has been living with me for 18 months. We are both in our 30s, happy, and talk about how this is it for us, relationship-wise. We are in it for the long haul. Only problem, he does not want to get married and I really do. Marriage is important to me. We have had a lot of talks recently and his vibe is somewhere between not ready and commitment as far as marriage is stupid, so why bother? After many long discussions, I realize that I love him enough to stay and take marriage off the table, even though I want it. He says he doesn't know if he'll ever want to get married. Side note, we both do not want children. Now the issue. I got paperwork from my insurance and was looking through it. I made a joke about how my parents are going to be really comfortable if I die, especially in an accident. They can mourn me in style, because of my insurance policies and the added accidental death insurance I have. My boyfriend and I then got talking, and he mentioned how I should really change my beneficiary to him. I said no. Absolutely not. I told him that I would never make anyone who isn't blood or legal family my beneficiary. I said I would add him in the future, if one day he decided he wanted marriage with me, but as it stands now, my insurance will remain as is. I also told him that since I own the house we live in myself, I bought it before we got together, that I would never add him to the title without marriage. Am I the a-hole? He is now mad and saying I'm an a-hole and holding marriage as a bargaining chip. We never have to get married, but I am not comfortable tying him to my finances without being married. For added info, I also have a lot of money tied up in my house. He does pay me to live here. My mortgage is almost $1,200 and he pays me $400 a month towards that. I also have a lot of money invested in my house. When I bought it, I used $42,000 that I saved for the down payment. That was all my money, and is now equity in the house that he had no part of. Now for the comment section. Not the a-hole. He wants to benefit from marriage, being a legal spouse, without actually getting married? Yeah, no, hard pass. And if something does happen and they break up, she could be screwed. OP is doing everything right. My mom spent years in real estate, and when my sister was getting serious with her first BF, she told both us to never buy a house with a non-spouse, or put a non-spouse on a house we owned. She saw too many chaotic situations resulting from non-married couples buying a house together / adding someone to the deed. It pretty much always ended with one of the people losing financially, and the house being sold as quickly as possible and usually for less than it was worth. Often, that was because one in the couple wanted the money fast and strong-armed the other into settling for less. Yep. Anyone who claims that marriage is just a piece of paper is kidding themselves, at least, in the USA they are. There's a reason the LGBT+ community is so big on having that right. It's because marriage comes with a ton of major benefits, and divorce is one of them. Yes, divorce costs money and can be quite bitter, but that's true of any breakup, and it only costs a ton if you're unable to compromise. There is a ton of legal precedents established on how to break up a married couple. There aren't any on how to break up people who are just dating, because, if you're just dating, you're not a legal entity with shared rights. You're just roommates playing house as far as the government/law is concerned. If you're going to share a life with someone and make major financial commitments together, get married. It protects you both. Exactly. If marriage is just a piece of paper, so is a title deed to a property. Not the a-hole. I don't think you are using this as a bargaining chip, but rather being cautious and smart. You guys have not been together long enough to tie your finances together. He may change his mind about marriage eventually, and you may change your mind and add him without it. Or you may not, on both counts. But right now, it's absolutely too soon. And I do agree with this. It is too soon to even talk about tying our finances to each other. When I originally talked marriage, I was hoping for an engagement in the next year and a wedding in a few years. I wasn't even wanting something soon, because I think we do need more time before that happens. So, talking more about finances shouldn't be a pressing matter yet either. For the next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting / asking to be put on her deed to the house? I, 32 male, and my wife, 29 female, recently got married in August. Me and my kids, 4 of them, live an hour away and in a smaller house than hers. Her house is a family house, and she didn't have a house payment and I did on mine. So, it made sense to sell mine and move in with her. So that's what we did. When I brought up about keeping my house, she got upset saying I wasn't committed all the way, and I was keeping an out for myself. I saw her point, so I sold the house and changed jobs and we moved in with her and left everything behind. Last night we got to talking, and we talked about property taxes and income taxes and things like that. I said to her that I'd like to be put on the deed of the house, seeing as she's wanting me to pay most of the property taxes, and she wants to file jointly on income taxes because she always owes thousands of dollars, and with the kids' tax credit she would basically owe next to nothing. She was appalled and got really upset with me. She said she didn't want to put my name on it, because she was trying to protect herself from me taking her house in the event that something would happen between us. I reminded her how she acted towards me keeping my house, and I told her I didn't think it was fair for her to expect me to pay her property taxes and help her a lot with income taxes, when she wouldn't do this for me. I work and make decent money and she hasn't worked in 6 months and it's not because of COVID, it was her choice. She can't pay her stuff without me. Am I the a-hole for wanting and asking to be put on the deed? Now for the top comments. This doesn't seem like an am I the a-hole situation to me, so I don't have a judgment for it. This really seems like something you two should have discussed before getting married. Maybe try posting in an advice sub. This exactly. OP and his wife should have talked this through before getting married, much less before OP sold his own house. Overall, the communication in this marriage seems like it needs a lot of work. Marriage counseling might be the way to go. They don't seem to agree, so a third party to help navigate all those things might be a good idea. Not the a-hole. She should pay the property tax if she's the only one on the deed, and I think that you may have made a mistake selling your house. You both should have sold and gotten a joint house. Yeah, not the a-hole, this would have been the best option. Adding someone to the deed is standard when it's a marriage or long-term partnership situation. I would never sell my property without my name being placed on the deed to the new location first, or purchasing joint property. Edit, getting goofy responses to this, when someone insists on surrendering property, because the implication is that the other party has a way out, but then won't offer additional legal security. That's them wanting to control the terms and conditions of a relationship to be one-sided. Everyone sucks here. This is something you should have worked out before getting married or moving in together. I suggest meeting with a financial counselor to figure out a good way forward. Maybe some sort of legal agreement that ensures she keeps the house in the event of a divorce or something. On the face of it, it sounds like she wants all the financial benefits for herself, while leaving you with nothing to fall back on if things don't work out, so meeting with a professional to make sure that isn't what's happening, is pretty important. Here's a little update from the poster. Thank you all for your opinions. Clearly, we should have hashed this out before getting married. I made assumptions and it made me out to be an A. Now for next story titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting my father in my life and not wanting to go to his funeral? My father had me at the good old age of 69. He comes from a culture where boys are valued more than girls. Out of the 5 children he has, I am his only daughter. My entire childhood was him valuing my brother, who was about 18 months older than me. His other 3 children are a good 20+ years older than me, while I was always sort of on the sidelines. This treatment got worse when we were teenagers, as my brother realized that he had power over my dad, and would like to get me in trouble. It got to the point where my dad told my brother it was okay for him to treat me like crap, and handle any situation that involved my brother and I in whatever way my brother felt was reasonable. You can imagine how that went. The straw that broke the camel's back was when my dad told my mom that it was either him or me living in the house, because I wanted to go to a different university than what he wanted me to go to. I got into the 10th best university in the country, while my dad wanted me to go to one that didn't even rank. My dad is basically dying and I have pretty much cut him out of my life. My mom, who has stood by my dad's side, even though he has pretty much caused me more trauma than anyone could possibly imagine, has said that I'm the a-hole. That I need to understand that my brother manipulated him into acting like that towards me, and that I need to forgive him. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my father in my life and not wanting to go to his funeral? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. He's got 4 sons who can do all the necessary mourning for him. You're not obliged to feel sad about someone who has caused you nothing but sadness and grief. She isn't as important as the boys, so no problem if she wants to stay away. Not the a-hole. But it looks bad on him that not all of his children are there and mourning for him. Not the a-hole. He emotionally abused you your whole childhood. You don't need that toxicity in your life. I'd cut them both out. Throw in the mother for good measure. There is a special place in hell for parents who fail to protect their children, even if that protection is from the other parent. Oh, not the a-hole. Your brother didn't manipulate him. Your dad was a sexist, misogynistic sea goblin who catered to your brother and put you down for being the lesser sex, and now in his death, your brother, who also sounds like a raging D-canoe, is being vilified for your father's atrocious behavior. Kudos for being a strong, feminist woman and break the toxic cycle of sexist cultural tradition. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my new computer to a family member in need? I am a grown woman who pays my own bills, lives with my girlfriend, and works pretty hard to provide a stable life. I recently went to Walmart to look for a tablet for my girlfriend, because her old one broke. I found what had to have been the last desktop in the store, and bought it. I need a new computer for work and our old one died. I got it set up and posted on FB, that I got the last computer in the world. My mom contacted me and said that my sister was upset I didn't give the computer to her like I apparently promised. She asked me to keep an eye out for a laptop. There are no laptops anywhere due to C-19. She said nothing about wanting a desktop at all. But she apparently needs something for her son to start distance learning since someone at his school got the plague, and they don't have a computer right now that he can use. She begged me to let her son have the computer, and I said no. She is really upset with me right now. I told her that I need a computer as well. And she can go look through Walmarts to find one. But it's not my job to provide her kid with a computer, when I need one as well. She has asked me to allow her son to come over to do his school work, 8 a.m. to noon, and I have said no as well. I have work and I don't want to babysit her kid. She can drive to our mom's house, 30 minutes away, for her son to do school like mom offered. I just happen to be closer, 5 minutes away, and she thinks that will work better. I have told her no. I have work. I have a life. And I don't want to babysit her kid every day. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister's kid is her responsibility, not yours. Schools that require students to have computers usually have programs to make them available to students that don't have them. You need it for your job, you bought it with your money. Your sister is being an entitled brat and needs to grow up. Editor to add, I get it. Not all schools have computers available. Please see my reply comment to OP about why this doesn't change my mind. She still acted in the wrong and was rude. OP is still not the a-hole. Our schools do not have computers available for kids. Not the a-hole. She's asking you to jeopardize your livelihood for her convenience. She does this a lot. She got really upset that I didn't step up more when her kids were born despite being told I am not a kid person. She was expecting our other siblings to do more to help, but they have kids of their own and live an hour or more away from us. I work, have a girlfriend, and just don't have time to babysit her kids. I think this is kind of her way of trying to get free babysitting for her neediest child. Not the a-hole. Many school districts, at least in my area, have loaner laptops for students to borrow for exactly these reasons, due to COVID. Has she even asked? Even if you were the kid's godmother, this specific thing is not your responsibility and it's not an expense you can deduct because it's not your kid. My sister seems to believe that because I don't have kids, I have an obligation to help with her children. I have other siblings, 2 other sisters, who all have kids and no one else has this wild idea. It's just a lot. I don't want to deal with her kid every day. I love the kid, but he is a lot. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.